personal fight for me. I want to knock this guy out.
Stipe Miocic, it's all over! Cormier is the UFC heavyweight champion!
Gets a chance to fight me again, and it's going to be the same result.
Greetings from Orange County, beautiful Anaheim, California, hosting its 8th UFC event, ce soir, tonight. Look at that, palm trees and everything, but no one cares about that. They all care about what's going down in the Honda Center this evening. It's UFC 241, dare I say, the best card of 2019, and we are well underway, my friends. Moments ago, Sabina Mazo, the Colombian queen, just picked up her first UFC victory. Very exciting stuff. I'm Ariel. That's Chael P. Sonnen. We're back, Chael. We're back.
We're back.
I want to hug you.
Hey, welcome, Ariel. Welcome. You know, I feel like you oversold California a little bit. I mean, it's a little hot. It's a nice place. There's a palm tree or two, but, you know, not for nothing. We're here for the fights.
Okay, fair enough. Disneyland. I just thought it was cool. Anyway, we're here, of course, for UFC 241. Look at that card, Chael. That's just the main card.
Now that's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That is, they should put that in the Louvre, if you're asking me, that card right over there. Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, Anthony Pettis against some guy named Nathan Diaz.
Sure.
Nathan Diaz, after 3 years, he is back. How about Yoel Romero against Paulo Costa?
Oh, yeah.
Rising star Sadiq Youssef, Ian Heinisch. That's the main card, which kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus PPV. And that's how you buy it. ESPNplus.com/PPV to purchase. Do that right now. The prelims are happening right now on ESPN Plus. Then they move over to ESPN beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But you can watch us at the same time. It's what the kids call a second screen experience,
Wow.
Chael. Yeah. Two
That's
screens.
beautiful.
One
experience.
Evening. Yes.
Got it.
All right, let's talk about Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic. I am looking forward to this matchup so much. In fact, Chael and I were in Las Vegas around 13 or so months ago. We were watching it, the first fight from T-Mobile. Initially, I remember saying to you, this is not going well for DC. Stipe is getting the better of him. And then bang, DC knocks him out. Do you expect this fight, without giving me, any prediction, we're going to save it for later, but do you expect the beginning of this fight to play out like the first fight did?
Yes, I do, and let me tell you why. But it's a big part what you just brought up. I don't know if I can say this in a quick manner. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is why Stipe wanted the rematch. This was why Stipe was so defiant. He had 2 minutes and 41 seconds that he shared the octagon with Daniel Cormier, and for 2 minutes and 35 seconds, Stipe was running the show. I think he looks back on that and goes, wait a minute, I got first-hand experience here. I outstruck this guy. I even out-wrestled this guy. I out-caged controlled this guy. He threw one bomb that hit me on the chin and put me down. That's accurate. That is what happened. Now, your question was, do I expect the first part of this fight to be like the first part of the last fight? Yes, I do. The one part of the formula that Stipe has left out and that he's miscalculated, perhaps. Daniel Cormier is a slow starter. By his own admittance, he starts out a little bit slow. I think that's what happened. It was the very beginning of the fight. I think Daniel was still feeling himself out.
A fascinating thing happened yesterday morning at the weigh-ins. Daniel Cormier weighed in 10 pounds lighter than he did prior to the first fight. Stipe Miocic weighed in 12 pounds lighter than he did prior to the first fight. What do you make of this?
Okay, this is big. This is going to be one of the biggest storylines post-fight. I don't know what to make. I know this means something. I know the fact that Stipe Miocic, who is generally a very lean, 240 pounds of pure muscle, has now taken 10 pounds off. Arrow, that doesn't mean he lost 10 pounds of fat. He took 10 pounds of muscle off of his frame. Is that going to make him a little bit quicker? Yeah, logically it should. Is it going to make him lose a little bit of power? Yeah, logically it should. Don't forget, the biggest sell on Stipe going into the first fight, often even believed in the second fight, he's too big. He's bigger than Daniel, and size matters. We've now taken that off the board. Numbers don't lie. He is officially not bigger than Daniel Cormier. So now what's his advantage?
And of course, after that fight, DC fought again. He beat Derek Lewis at Madison Square Garden, short notice fight. Stipe hasn't fought since then. And Crazy Bob Cook, who's DC's longtime manager and head coach, said something very interesting yesterday to Brett Okamoto and I at the weigh-ins. He said he thinks it was a very big mistake for Stipe not to take another fight after getting knocked out. He should have taken a warm-up fight and then gone this rematch. What do you make of that theory?
First off, I like that you called Bob Cook crazy. Secondly,
That's his nickname.
I realize it's his nickname, but that's still very funny. Now, He makes a very good point. Listen, when I'm looking at this fight, and Stipe is something special, I would never say differently. I saw the same thing Stipe thought that he felt. I saw Stipe winning a fight until he wasn't, even though it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, I generally need a reason to believe that the second fight's going to be different. Usually when we do rematches here, I do have a reason to believe it's going to be different because the guys have fought since. I go, okay, as a fan, he looks better now. He looks like he learned. He looks like he has bridged the gap that created the deficit in the first contest. Stipe didn't fight since. I have no reason to believe that he should be better because he hasn't given me a reason. He was the defiant. He stood out. Historically, this has never worked out to go head-to-head with the organization over the matchmaking. Worked out for Stipe in this case. He's got his chance.
Now, that is a phenomenal main event. It's an amazing fight between two of the greatest heavyweights of all time. But if we're being honest, the fight that is stealing all the headlines heading into tonight is that one. Anthony Pettis, Nate Diaz. And before you think someone like Daniel Cormier, who's the heavyweight champion, arguably the baddest man on the planet, would be offended by that statement, DC told me yesterday, man, I got to tell you, Nate Diaz is doing me a favor because the pay-per-view numbers are going up because of his presence on this card. Nate hasn't fought in 3 years. This fight's 6 years in the making. In fact, there's a tweet out there of Nate Diaz saying, I want Pettis next, from back in 2013. I love everything about this fight, and I guess my biggest question to you heading into it is, what kind of Nate Diaz are we going to see? Are you worried that the 3-year layoff is going to affect him?
I got to start at the beginning. Ariel, you're completely right, and this isn't the first time we've seen this in recent memory with the UFC, where the most anticipated fight is not the main event. Now, a lot of that is because of location. A lot of that is because of the simple law of business, and the only law of business that matters, supply and demand. There's a big demand, and we haven't had much of the supply, and that's where the 3-year layoff comes. Nate Diaz is back. Nate Diaz has something special. He and Pettis have a history. These guys had beef at 155 pounds. Pettis, don't forget about Gilbert Melendez. I mean, that factors in. That is Nate Diaz's guy. Gilbert came up short against Pettis. Gilbert trains with Nate. Gilbert is an insight. Gilbert is the intangible in this fight, where Nate Diaz can actually have bona fide information, insider knowledge of what to expect. It's compelling. It's interesting. Diaz is the favorite. He deserves to be. But this is stealing the show. That's Nate Diaz.
And I love the fact that there's no title on the line, but the stakes are massive. The winner of this fight could very well be next for Conor McGregor or Jorge Masvidal, 2 money fights. I asked Duke Rufus, Anthony Pettis' head coach, on Monday, true or false, will there be one takedown attempt in this fight? He said false, and he alluded to the fact that Pettis might actually try to take Nate to the ground. Do you think he was bluffing?
No, that would surprise me. I will tell you that, but no, I don't know that he's bluffing. Listen, Pettis is so good on the ground. For some reason, he never gets credit for that. Pettis is amongst the greatest fighters to have ever done it. If you want to truly not just look at his record and his accomplishments being a multiple-time world champion, but if you want to look at the skills alone, he is truly, Ariel, amongst the best to have ever done it. His ground game is phenomenal. Ask Michael Chiesa. His ground game is phenomenal. Ask Benson Henderson. This guy can do it all, and I would love to see him on the ground. As a fan, I would love to see a few moments on the ground, Pettis with the Caesar Gracie black belt. I would enjoy that.
I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't know if the camera is zooming in enough, but Chael's actually drooling talking about these fights. Right?
I am truly,
well.
I have not been this excited. When you say it's the #1 card of the year, and yeah, we have had to say that a few times, but it's been true each time we say it's true once again. This is the best. This is the best card of my memory. I have a short memory in this business, I will admit to you. I have not been this amped up for a fight night.
Yes, me too. It feels like a big event. It's a big deal. We are hours away from the main card commencing on ESPN Plus pay-per-view again. This is how you order UFC 241. Very easy. It's become a lot easier. Trust me. ESPNplus.com/PPV. Click buy now, and there you see the whole spiel. You know the drill by now. You're obviously a big fan of ESPN Plus. You have already subscribed. We built that platform. We made it famous. You watch us, you know about Plus. Anyway, Chael, I don't know if you saw this. You probably did because you never support
watch
any
us,
of my
you know about Plus.
Yes,
that's beautiful.
That?
Was that on purpose?
Chael probably didn't see my E60 profile on Daniel Cormier. He doesn't really support what I do. But yes, here's a little more on that profile that aired on Sunday. It's phenomenal stuff, if I do say so myself.
Go ahead, Ariel.
Cormier became just the second fighter in UFC history to hold 2 belts at the same time.
I am 39 years old, and I've been second a lot of times, but today I finally accomplished everything.
When I think back to that little boy in Lafayette, Louisiana, the one that had 100 silver medals hanging up on his walls in my mom's house, it's all built a guy that is worthy of being called the UFC double champion.
Great stuff there. Here's a little more on Daniel Cormier, 40 years young, arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time in the discussion for the greatest of all time, period, and just the second fighter in UFC history, back when he did in July of 2018 to hold 2 titles, 2 different weight classes at the same time. Now, Chael, someone who knows a thing or two about Daniel Cormier, before he was the man, before he was the king of the heavyweights, light heavyweight, is this man, the king of cringe himself, the reigning, defending UFC flyweight, bantamweight, and soon-to-be intergender champion of the world.
Yes,
the 2008 Olympic gold medalist, the one and only Henry Cejudo, kind enough to join us. Henry, how are you?
Thank you for having me.
Soon to be aren't you officially the champ? Didn't you win that by forfeit?
I would say
by
so.
default?
I would say
Come
so.
on, champ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Intergender world champion. Let's change it to quadruple C.
Why
Yes, well done. And maybe quintency, because you're also a commentator now.
Oh, that's
I
right.
don't
That's
even know
right.
how to
Which
say
also
that.
starts with a C.
Exactly. Isn't that amazing? But like I said, this man knows a lot about Daniel Cormier. They were members of the 2008 Olympic team. How about this photo we have of young Henry Cejudo and Daniel Cormier? I mean, look at that face. Isn't it amazing? Look at that. Tell us about this photo. Where was this, Henry?
God, this was maybe about a couple months before we took off to the Olympics.
Okay.
I remember this picture actually vividly. I remember we're actually in Hoboken in New York with the Olympic team, and you know, me and Daniel have always been good friends, and you know, it's just a picture, just reminiscent.
Yeah, when you come to his fights, you know, you guys go way back. You have that kinship, wrestling community, all that. What do you feel? Do you feel a little nervous for your guy? How do you approach the fight?
Oh, absolutely. I think once you wrestle, there's this brotherhood, but at the same time, there's also a safety net, knowing that he is an elite wrestler, and that's kind of what puts me at peace at the same time. But there is a little bit of nerves because Stipe is going up against a bigger man. He's going up against a man that really wants to beat him up. But I think it's in the bag for Daniel.
Interesting. Okay, and by the way, we were just talking about this. Daniel weighing in at 236. Pretty light for Daniel Cormier. Last fight, 251 he weighed in at. What'd you make of him coming in so lean?
I think it's just the fact that this may possibly be his last fight.
Ah.
I think Daniel wants to get every edge that he can get. He wants to leave as not only the double champ, but also the pound for pound. He wants to literally, I feel like he wants to leave on top.
I was going to ask you about that. True or false? Do you think this is his last fight?
No, I don't think so, but I like what Henry's saying. I mean, he's taking Daniel at his word. Daniel has been telling us for a while he's going to retire. My next fight's my last fight. This is now another one removed. We're now getting a second treat, if you will, from the day he said he was going to retire. So I think it is very relevant, and I think absence of John Jones versus DC Part 3, and I also believe that needs to be at heavyweight, contrary to what DC says. Yeah, this is his last fight.
Okay, so that's the story at heavyweight. We talked a little bit about the co-main event as well. Now let us turn our attention to the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. This is shades of WrestleMania 3, Chael. Look at these specimens. I mean, have you ever seen abs like that before? These are 2 unbelievable human beings chiseled out of stone. Yoel Romero, Paulo Costa, and Henry, you know about Costa. He's a teammate of yours.
He is. And something about Paulo Costa is he truly really believes that he could beat Yoel Romero. Like, he really wanted that fight with Yoel. Obviously, as a wrestler, I grew up watching Yoel Romero. I mean, he was one of my wrestling idols growing up. But I think he's finally met his match. In order for Yoel Romero to win this match, he's going to have to wrestle. This kid comes with brutal power. He has speed of a flyweight with power of a heavyweight.
Wow.
Be careful.
Do you agree with that?
It's shocking how powerful Paulo is, and I will tell you this, anytime Yoel fights, you got to match him in 2 areas before you even get into the X's and O's. Are you as good of an athlete, and are you as strong? So far, the answer has always been no. Yoel goes into every contest up 2-0. This is the first time where we got a level playing field here. This is the first time guy who is as strong, if not stronger, who is as good of an athlete, if not better, because of the youth, if nothing else.
Henry, I'm wondering if you got a sense for how personal this fight is for Costa, because let's be honest, like, things have been said, accusations have been said by Romero towards Costa, Costa towards Romero. Do you feel, or are you worried that he might fight too emotionally out there because of all that?
It is personal, and all that is true, but I think more importantly than them throwing words at each other, he's fighting for his dream. I mean, Paulo Costa really believes that when he wins this fight, he's already talking to Dana White about being front row, sitting next to him, watching Israel and Whitaker fight. So to me, it's based more on the dream. This kid has had this dream since he was young, and he truly believes that he could do it.
All right. That's one of the featured fights on the main card. As far as the prelims are concerned, let's talk about a fight that I think Henry will be interested in because it's in one of your weight classes. You've got a lot of weight classes that you're the king of. 125, 135, intergender, whoever else is in that, that division. Yes, cringe weight class as well. It's Corey Sandhagen against Rafael Assuncao. Sandhagen has won 6 in a row. Assuncao's always a tough out, kind of a gatekeeper right now, litmus test. I'm surprised Sandhagen doesn't get talked about enough with the likes of Jan and Sterling. Considering what he did in his last fight against John Lineker, what do you make of this matchup? Who do you like in it?
First of all, this is a very competitive fight. I feel like Sandhagen is a very technical fighter. He reminds me of a TJ he's a TJ Dillashaw, but it's based more on feels rather than pattern. The dude feels distance. He has a great. He understands distance. I think that's what's scary about it. He can wrestle. He can strike. I mean, he's a true mixed martial artist. And then the second hand, you have Rafael Assuncao, who is a former Jiu-Jitsu world champ black belt. I mean, this fight could go either way. I mean, the person that comes up with the game plan actually sticks to the game plan, more likely is going to win.
I've been picking against Assuncao for the last 3 years, every single fight. That makes me right for all but one because he keeps on winning. Listen, Assuncao just knows how to compete. He understands the 10-point must system. He understands how to get on top, how to steal rounds. I think Sandberg's the better fighter. I think Sandberg's reach could create some real problems. I'm not ready to make the same mistake I've made 9 other times. I'm taking Assuncao.
Okay, now that we got all that stuff out of the way, can we just talk about Henry for a second? I mean, the guy is just constantly in the news, stealing all the headlines. And, you know, the intergender stuff is fun, but it seems like Dana White...
They can all get it. They can all
get it? Okay,
get it.
Who are you thinking about these days? Because it seems like every day you have another person on your mind. Like last week it was Valentina. Prior to that it was Frankie Edgar. Are you thinking about someone else now? Or are we
Everybody wants a piece of my belt, and I'm sick of it.
Yes.
They can all get it. I don't know if you guys just heard, Jose Aldo is planning to make the move down 235 pounds, so I welcome that fight too. I love the fight with Frankie Edgar too, but there is one man that I truly do want.
Oh.
I want to, after fighting Marlon Moraes, after fighting TJ Dillashaw, the greatest of all time, Demetrius Johnson, I need an easy fight, Cho. Do you agree?
You're tired.
I need a tuna fight. I need somebody easy. I need somebody brittle. Dominic Cruz, if you're watching this fight. And wrestling, we tend to call them pud whackers, fish. I want you to be the next victim to bend the knee to Triple C.
Dominic Cruz, easy fight. I don't think
Easy
those
fight,
words have ever
brittle
been together.
man.
Those words have never been spoken, but I will tell you now, and I'm sorry to cut you off, champ. I'm in. Ariel, you want my opinion? I'm in. I mark my calendar. I watch that fight all night long.
The title of King of Arizona on the line.
I don't know how
right?
Dominic and Cruz can say he's a world champion when he's not even the best at the state of Arizona. In a 200-mile radius, he cannot even say he's the best because there's a king up in Phoenix, Arizona, and his name happens to be Triple C. Bend the knee.
All right. So 2 weeks goes Edgar, then Valentina. Today it's Dominic Cruz. You're welcome, Dominic Cruz.
Hey, and I'm not Jose Aldo. You better be on hold, man, because you're next.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Henry. We appreciate you gracing us with your presence. And I love when he does that, by the way. I can't get...
Can we talk about that? I actually really would like to see him and Dominic Cruz.
Oh, yes, it's amazing.
I'd like to see Dominic Cruz's reaction when he finds out he just got called an easy night, which has never happened before.
Corporate Jake, dial up Dominic Cruz. For now, though, let's take a look at this conversation that our colleague Brett Okamoto had with Nathan Diaz. Everyone's talking about it. Earlier this week, it was posted. Here's a little taste of that conversation.
Who's the champion of my weight class? 55 and 70.
55's Khabib.
Okay.
70's Kamaru Usman.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be nice.
I feel like I'm just better and cooler than those guys. What the hell do I want to fight them for? Pettis is cooler than both of them, fight-wise. You know what I'm saying? Remember Street Fighter? I want to see that versus that guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or just at school when you just knew 2 dudes who kick. And you were like, I wonder what would happen if them fools fight, you know? It's like, that's the one that I think about it from outside perspective too. If I was somebody who wanted to watch me fight in the UFC, I would want to watch me fight Connor or Pettis or, you know, Masvidal just did his thing the other day. That was great, you know? It's like stuff like that. With all due respect, motivates you to want to fight that person because they've done some great.
You can see that entire conversation on youtube.com/ESPN MMA. We're being joined now by Brett Okamoto. And how about this? Gil Melendez, who typically is here wearing a suit like all of us. Today, you are 100% biased, correct?
100% biased, 100% Team Diaz. We're ready to go. We got started early. It's go time tonight.
I believe you brought props as well.
Oh, did I bring props?
Yes.
We got the Diaz flag out here. We got pumped up. Hey, and we got shirts for you guys as well. You guys want to represent.
That was sweet of you.
Yo, this is from Nate Diaz right here in the team, bro.
Wow.
Well, thank you to all of you.
This is a big night for us tonight, and we're going hard, completely biased.
Wait, what's the Diaz flag say? I got to see it a little better. What's it
go
say?
right here. Let's
Nate
go.
Diaz.
Oh, it says Nate Diaz. Represent, of course.
There it is. There it is. Let's go.
Could I just ask, Gil, you know, this is a very good friend of yours. He hasn't fought in 3 years. What are the emotions that you have before
This is
Nate
more
Diaz
than a
fight?
friend. This is a brother of mine. This is a guy who I bleed with. This is a guy who I went through my journey with. And this is a guy who was a little bit behind for us, right? It was Nick and Jake, myself. Now it's his time. You know, this is the guy that rose to the occasion where myself, I choked for the title. Jake Shields lost to St. Pierre. Nick Diaz lost to St. Pierre. But not Nate Diaz. On the biggest night of his life, he stepped up on short notice and beat Conor McGregor. He put him out and had a beautiful rematch, and his legacy is growing, and now we have another big night tonight. So I'm definitely emotionally invested in this one.
Brett, you've been
Gil is
covering
in
a
rare
lot.
form.
Yes,
I love when Gil's like
We got
I
pumped
love
up.
it.
I'm a guest tonight. I'm not
Are you in his corner?
I'm not going to be there tonight. We
Okay.
both knew going into this. It's been a long time since we both fought, right?
Right.
So we know, hey, it's time for us both to fight as fighters. I booked a fight in July. He booked his fight here in August. We got our teams together early. We knew we'd be in, you know, talking to each other and keeping it. But I know Randy Spence, a black belt of Cesar Gracie, who runs the Nick Diaz Academy out there, has been in his corner before, and he's a professional mixed martial artist. Crone Gracie will be there. Of course, Richard Perez. And I believe maybe Ernie Reyes Jr. will be in his corner out there as well. So he has great people around him. I saw him today, this morning. We chatted it up. Large group right there to support him. So we're ready to go. We're fired up.
I didn't think I could be even more excited about this fight, and Gil has somehow made me even more excited about the fight. You've covered a lot of Nate fights. Why are Nate Diaz fight nights so special, Brett?
It's just this whole enigma of Nate Diaz. You know, does he really want to be here, or does he hate being here? In his words, and in that interview that I did with him, I felt one of the most fascinating things that he said was he's institutionalized to the fight game, that he tried to take a break. He's like, why am I training? I got nothing to train for, so I'm going to take a break. I'm going to sit back. And about a day later, he's like, F that. I got to get in the gym and train. And he wanted to take a fight during this whole time. I think that's something that was lost on a lot of people during these 3 years off. A lot of people wondering, well, does Nate even want to fight anymore? Does this guy want to fight? And to me, the reality to that is that of course he wants to fight. It's all he knows. It's the only thing that he knows. And he felt like not taking those fights or not getting the fights he was being offered, he was losing almost another fight, and that, hey, this is the prime of my career and I'm just sitting here in Lodi, California. I got to get back to doing what I do. And then he got an opportunity when the Wheaties box guy went out there and knocked out Stephen Thompson, and then he saw something he liked.
And this fight, 6 years in the making, Gil. Can you tell us a little more about the backstory between these two? Why is there, quote-unquote, beef between Pettis and Diaz from your perspective?
Okay, there's not too much beef or deep, but just to show you how loyal we are to each other and how much he has my back, right? I was out in Mexico City fighting Eddie Alvarez, but recently before that, I lost to Anthony Pettis, you know, and he so happened to be there at the same time. You know, and Nate just has my back. You know, I lost to Anthony Pettis, and he wants to get that back for the team. That's just how it goes. You know, it's nothing deep or personal. You're on the other side of the team. You know, it's respect, but it is war out there. So he had some words with them, let him know he wanted a piece of him, and you know, I think Anthony Pettis has had the red carpet treatment. You know, Nate has been here for years. He's been here for years, he's paid his dues, and he really hasn't had the red carpet treatment. You know, I know business is difficult at times to do both ways, you know, but I think other people have had easier roads to a certain spot. And I think Nate's had a challenging road there. And, you know, he just calls it how it is. And he's loyal to me. He wants to avenge a loss, he wants to back me up. But I think they blew that up. And it's all business here tonight. And he's here to put on a show.
Okay. I think Nate likes taking on who people see as the UFC's golden boys.
Yeah.
Conor before, and now some people associate that with Anthony as well.
I just wanted to ask Chubb, because I know you're a big Anthony Pettis guy. Do you agree with that assessment, that he's had kind of an easy road?
Well, what does that mean, a big Anthony Pettis? What exactly does that mean?
I didn't see an easier road, like
Okay.
easier fights or
No,
nothing.
no.
I just say like,
Protected?
hey, just the opportunity to get bigger fights. Some
Okay.
people, hey, they win one fight, they're already to a title fight.
Right.
You know, we see it. You know, someone like Brock Lesnar, a huge star, walks in, he's fighting Randy Couture.
Okay.
Didn't have 10 fights of mileage to get to that point.
Sure.
Someone like Nate, we get to a title fight, we had 10 fights, 5 minutes, you know, mileage of getting to that point, you know, and certain promoters, they want to push someone and they get there before that point.
And Ariel,
you know?
I would like to answer that because you bring up Anthony Pettis, and I want to ask Gil this because when you fought Anthony Pettis, the one thing that you've said after that night, right after, all the way to today, you said he was just fast. I was surprised by that speed. They're changing weight. It's not at 155. Pettis is a little bigger. In theory, that means he's a little slower. How do you see that?
That's a good point. That's a good point right there. I think we always got to respect the speed of the game. I hope that does slow him down there. And he's not fighting a natural 70-pounder either, right? I think people go up, and there's certain advantages to that smaller guy having that speed, exactly. And Nate's a guy who is not this heavier 170-pounder either. He's a guy who can move just as fast out there. So I do expect the speed out there. Hopefully it does slow down a little bit, but it's a matter of just finding that timing for Nate Diaz. But, yeah.
Okay, while you guys are joining us, just curious, any other fights on this card that you're really looking forward to? We've talked about, you know, the main event, the co-main, anything else that comes to mind?
I like the Manny Bermudez-Casey Kenny fight.
Okay.
I thought that Casey Kenny showed us some grappling chops when he fought Ray Borg. I mean, we all know how difficult it is to get in those scrambles with Ray Borg and even hold your own. I got to be honest, I didn't think that he won that fight against Ray Borg, but I thought he handled himself very well. And on the flip side, you have Manny Bermudez, very young talent, a lot of people high on him, myself included. He gets finishes. He's very big for that weight class. In fact, we see that this fight is at 140 pounds, not 135 pounds, because both of these guys were cutting a whole lot of weight this week. I just think it's two guys with very, very high ceilings in this weight class. And right now I'm kind of in love with the 135-pound division. So I want to see where both of these guys go.
How about you, Gil?
I'm interested in Yoel Romero, of course, and Paulo Costa. Who doesn't want to see that fight? Yoel Romero, Olympic silver medalist, Greco-Roman, fought Whitaker. Some fantastic fights out there, has tremendous takedowns. You've never seen anyone with the body armor quite like him. But you got Paulo Costa here, just the same size as him, bigger, not intimidated at all. I mean, who isn't intimidated by Yoel Romero's size? You go up to him, this guy's an animal right there. But Paulo Costa stepped up to him and said, look at my body armor, is just as strong as you. So I'm really excited to see this matchup. Paulo Costa's been dominating, I believe. I want to see how he reacts to the wrestling, or is it going to be a striking battle? But I do want to see how Paulo Costa reacts to the wrestling.
Who wins that fight?
I'm not an analyst tonight. I am a fan. I'm going to enjoy this one.
If Yoel gets him down, can Costa get up? Can Costa protect himself? I feel like that's the one position we've never seen him in.
That's exactly what I came to watch, right, Chael? That's my question, too. I see Paulo Costa. I think the guy's, you know, amazing. He's amazing, but he hasn't had that adversity, right? How do you respond to be taken down? How do you respond in, you know, deep waters with someone like Yoel Romero, which we've seen him respond in deep waters, going 5 rounds with Whitaker, you know, coming up short but still performing. That's the whole question tonight. Paulo Costa's fighting another animal, Yoel Romero, and how's he going to respond to that? And I want them to go to the floor. But, you know, we don't know. But I want to see it.
Dare I ask, obviously I know you think Nate is going to win. Dare I ask how he's going to win?
Yes, you do. I think we've seen Pettis is an amazing fighter. Has tremendous heart. He does. He really does. He's a great guy. But we saw what Tony Ferguson did to him. We saw what Max Holloway did to him. We've seen him fold at times, you know? And I'm not saying that as disrespect. It's hard out there. It's really hard being in that cage and holding strong. But I've seen him fold. And he's very technical and tactical out there. And it's a matter of Nate walking him down, not being over-aggressive and compromising his chin and his well-being. He has 3 rounds, so he has to put the pressure right away. I know he looked back at his fight with Michael Johnson, which is a 3 5-minute round. He saw he got off to a fast pace, so it's a matter of Nate getting that quick jump and making this guy fight him and not outpoint him and not compromising his chin in the process or compromising his well-being in the process. He's very tough and durable, but Anthony Pettis is always dangerous. But the deeper it goes, the better for Nathan.
All right, great insight there, guys. Thank you very much.
We made him be an analyst tonight.
I know.
He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it, but we got him.
Come on, guys.
I love it. I love it.
I got
Good
you a
luck
flag,
to you guys.
Ariel. Come on. You want to wave it?
Wow.
You want to wave it?
Look at this.
You want to wave it? We got 2 of them.
Gilbert Melendez is very excited. I have not seen him like this in quite some time. Great stuff, guys. Thank you very much. Now, of course, main event. Everyone's looking forward to DC versus Stipe Miocic, number 2. Of course, they fought back in July of 2018. In case you forgot, it was a short fight, but in case you forgot how it all went down, here's a quick reminder.
upon us. It is the rarest of rarities in combat sports. Never before has a UFC light heavyweight champion moved up to challenge the active heavyweight champion.
Ooh, big right hand by Daniel. Oh, he stung him with that jab.
There's 1-2 from Cormier. Daniel Cormier is the UFC heavyweight champion. One of the greatest of all time. Unprecedented, rarefied air.
Bam, on the chin. Stipe goes down. Boom, 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 out cold. Crazy. I never knew what I could become, but tonight I got the answer. I'm a two-division champion, baby!
All right, so that was July of 2018. Before I get this man's predictions, just a quick update. Kyung-Ho Kang just defeated Brandon Davis via split decision as the prelims roll on. How about Gil Melendez, right?
He is in rare form. I got to tell you, to see someone Ariel, I relate. My career started as a fan. My career will end as a fan. To see him be a fan, but also a supporter of his own guy, come on, man. That's what sportsmanship's all about. You back your guy.
I love that. I love that about that team, and not just that team, but it's a great thing to see them all come together like that. I think you just saw a glimpse of that there from Gil Melendez. All right, prediction time. DC, Stipe, 2. Who wins? Why?
Do I have to be fast? Can I let this breathe just a second?
Let it breathe.
Stipe has given us no reason to believe we should get a different result. I don't say that against Stipe. I mean that quite literally. He hasn't done anything since the last fight. So to believe that we're going to get a different outcome with seeing a guy not do something, and I appreciate the 10 pounds he lost. I appreciate that'll make him faster, and I appreciate he likely trained even more and ran even more miles to get that weight off. Ariel, I just can't see it going any different. I think it's going to go the very same. In that, Stipe's going to take control in the early minutes. He's going to be faster. Daniel's going to get his footing. Later on in the fight, rounds 2 and 3, that's when we're really going to see the real competition begin. I believe in round 4, DC will be on top, and ultimately, Stipe will get stopped.
Okay, wow. All right, you took me down many different roads there. I thought first you were going with Stipe, so in the end, stopped via TKO?
I think that's right. Daniel Cormier leaves as champion.
Okay, does he ever defend the belt ever again?
I don't believe at heavyweight unless it is against John Jones.
Right.
I think we're very safe to say that if we see Daniel back again after tonight, it will be against John. I also think we're very safe to say we will see Daniel back, but it's going to be against John.
If he wins tonight, Daniel Cormier improves his record at heavyweight to 16-0. Hasn't had a lot of time in the UFC.
Much like my record, only much better.
Yeah, yours is better.
His is much better.
All right.
But other than that, they're identical.
Okay, yes. Co-main event, Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis. 6 years in the making. I don't even know. Take it away.
You want to know who the better fighter is? I'll tell you that without even watching the match. It's Anthony Pettis, okay? If my son wants to go into fighting and a genie pops out of the bottle, the old adage, right, and I get one wish, but my son can either have the skills of Diaz or Pettis. I don't take 1 second to think about it. It is Anthony Pettis. However, there's an intangible, which is the pressure, which is the pace, which is the durability, which is the crowd, which is everything on the side of Diaz. I think Diaz is going to lose the first round. I think he is going to lose it handily, because that is when it's going to be an athletic contest. That's when skills matter. In rounds 2 and 3, skills are out the window. Everybody's tired. Everybody's hurt. One guy can dig a little bit deeper, and I think it's Nate Diaz.
Okay, decision?
Decision, 2-1.
Wow, that one is very interesting. And finally, one more, Yoel Romero, Paulo Costa, another fight that a little bit has flown under the radar, but I think the real fans are equally excited for this one. Who do you like?
Speaking of our fans, if they're sitting at home, they watch the Romero fights, they watch the Costa fights, and they come to the conclusion that Costa does more, and he does it more often. Therefore, he will beat Yoel Romero. They are right in their assessment of what they saw, what you don't see. Yoel Romero will not work any harder than he has to. He will only score when he needs to score. He will only put his foot down on the pedal and breathe hard when he has to. He's going to have to do that early, but he will answer the test. People do not understand how good Yoel Romero is, because as a Cuban nationalist on their national wrestling and Olympic team, they are trained to constantly rope-a-dope, constantly look tired, constantly keep your opponent in the match. If your opponent tries to score, that's when you score. When Costa tries to score on Romero, Romero will put his foot down. You will see how good Yoel Romero is. Yoel Romero leaves the victor.
Okay. You know, the truth is, Chael, and I think you would agree with me, there's a lot of MMA on television these days. When you were starting out, you couldn't find mixed martial arts on television.
True.
Every weekend, there's at least one major event. 43 UFCs. I mean, there's a lot. But it's nights like this, right? Nights like this that stick out. These are the nights that I think made us fans. These stacked pay-per-view cards, heavyweight championship, grudge matches, up-and-comer. These are the sort of fights that I think we all sort of fell in love with MMA, these kinds of fight cards. And it's just kind of awesome to be here, especially in this arena that has hosted 7 other UFC events before. Great fights like Kane, Brock, Rousey, Carmouche back in the day. These fans are in for a treat tonight. I feel it. I feel like something special is going to happen.
Absolutely. The punches and kicks come every week, just like you said, but the stories start to align on special nights like tonight. Storylines is a unique part of this sport. NFL, basketball, they have schedules, Ariel. This team's going to play this team. There's no room for storylines. MMA, it's all about that, the drama, and then we settle it for 15 to 25 minutes, and we move back onto the drama, and it's fun.
Amen. Amen to that. All right, 8 p.m. Eastern, prelims on ESPN, 10 o'clock Eastern. It's on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Again, that's how you can watch. 10 p.m. Eastern, it all kicks off. UFC 241. Order right now. Don't be the one guy at the water cooler on Monday who had no idea how to order this and missed out on all the action. You'll be sorely, sorely mistaken if you do that. Trust me. It's UFC 241. It's well underway. It's been a great night so far, and trust me, something magical is about to happen. It always seems to happen when the UFC comes to the Honda Center. It's a magical building, and I'm expecting big things. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see ya after the fights.